City Series cigars and Citrus 7s, black cement 3s, 4s, the hairs and bread 11s. No doubt that I'll be wearing some fire at any sighting. With these Doran Becker 5s, you can see me in any lighting. It's exciting, I'll be flexing to the coldest degree. What's up, everybody? It's Sneakerhead M Checks. I got the 2025 Flu Game 12s or Bread 12s, whatever you want to call them, scheduled to release Saturday, March 1st. So as usual, we're going to take a close detailed look at the shoe from all angles. I'm going to put these on and step around them so y'all can see they look on feet. I also have the previous retro from 2016, so I'll be showing how these two compare throughout the video, and then I'll discuss all the differences. After that, I'm going to share my opinion on these, and I'll talk about release predictions, reselling predictions, and all that stuff. So let's get right to it. Tumbled leather. Laces and tongue look good. Jumpman up here pops out a bit more than it did on the 2016 pair. See how it looks all flat. Minor detail, but couldn't help but notice. Here's the sign. I thought this cut right here was going to be a little bit higher to resemble the OG a little bit more. I mean, it's not too far off really. It just like dips a little bit more right here than the 1997 pairs do for the most part, which is also how the 2016 pair was cut. Now keep in mind also, my 2016s are a size 8.5 and my 2025s are a size 9.5. So if these appear to be bigger, that is why. It's because they are. Seems like they made this part right here a little softer here and on the other side. If you know anything about how 12s age, you know that this is the part that's most likely to go first. 12s don't crumble, so you can even wear most OG pairs. But if you look at a lot of pairs from 1997, this part right here has hardened and is cracked or has started to crack on a lot of pairs. There are some pairs that don't have that, but like I said, a lot of them, you'll see this part coming off, or maybe it's still there and it has like some cracks in it, or there's some pieces missing. So I'm assuming and kind of hoping that they made this a little softer on these so that they wouldn't harden and crack as fast over time. Not really 100% sure, but that's just my assumption. That nice tumbled leather. Nothing out of the ordinary back here either. It's all as it should be. I couldn't help but notice the height difference between these and the 2016 pair I have. Now, like I said earlier, keep in mind that this 2016 pair is a size 8.5. And the 2025 pair that I have is a full size bigger. So you do have to expect some size differences in general, but the height just seemed a little bit significant to me. Let me put them on the same surface so it's not as exaggerated, but even right here, where they're at the same surface, this just seems to be a bit much for just a, I know it's a full size difference, but I don't know. Inside's all black, tags on the tongue, red Jumpman on the insole. Exactly how things are on the 2016s, all black. See the tag there, and we still got the red Jumpman intact. 2003 and 97 had a different tag placement. Here's the outsole. Part right here almost looks reflective. Yeah. They come in this OG style 12s box. It's exactly like the box that the originals came in, just with a different label. And the 2016 pair has a similar box, just with the Jumpman logo on it. Label's a little different as well, and the quote on the side is different. The 2016 box says, "Quality inspired by the greatest player ever." And this box says, "Engineered and built to the exact specifications of championship athletes from around the world," just like the OG box says. Then here on the inside is the usual tan paper, a layer of white paper under, and here's a better look at the label. Air Jordan 12 Retro in black and varsity red. Here's a quick all-around view of the shoe. Alright, now let's see the look on feet.
If I gotta go, I'ma go. I don't hesitate, I'ma just bounce like a bad chick. And niggas who know me know that I've been fly since back when they called that shit mad fresh. I get my pairs before the release. I got sneakers that y'all cannot have yet. I visit the plug, he's showing me all of the work like I'm grading his math test. It feel like just yesterday, yo.
These are definitely one of the most consistent Jordans of all time, out of all the OG colorways. They actually might be the most consistent, because like, assuming we're not counting the 2009 pair, I can't think of any other OG Jordan colorway that has retroed and retroed and retroed with such little changes like these have each time they retro. I was actually struggling to find differences between these and the 2016 pair, because they're kind of like, really isn't any, to be honest. Unless you want to be super particular, like I guess I could say that on the tongue stitching pops out a little bit more on the 2025 pair. It's more flat on the 2016s. And this isn't a visible difference, but the Jumpman tab right here and its counterpart on the other side are a little bit softer on the 2025 pair. And that's really it. I was trying to see if there was any shape differences, but there's not really. Like the only differences I'm really seeing between these two are the ones that I got to disregard, like the size difference. These are 8.5, these are 9.5, and the fact that these were worn a bunch of times and these haven't been yet. You know, I mentioned that I noticed these were taller than these when you put them next to one another. You know, I'm not really sure if it's a size thing or if they were made higher, but looking at them right here, they're lined up pretty perfectly. There's really not that much of a difference, so it probably is like a size thing. So although that being considered, looking at these next to one another, there's not really any difference. So if you have the 2016 pair and you're satisfied with the condition and size and all that, you probably don't really need these. I'm not saying not to get them if you have the 2016 pair. Like, by all means, if you want them, get them. I'm not trying to discourage you, but if you did have these, and like I said, if you're satisfied with the condition and size and everything and you wanted to save a little money, then there's not really nothing about these that's like, oh, I gotta have the 2025 pair because, you know what I mean? Like, I know some of us are super particular about details. Like, I do like how the box for these is exactly like it is on the OG, but like some people don't even care about boxes, you know? As far as the shoe is concerned, like I said, I was struggling to find differences, you know? So whatever you want to do, I would understand either way. I personally am going to get these still and we'll be selling these really just for size and condition purposes. I mean, the condition on these is fine, but I really need that size change, and in the meantime, why not get a brand new pair? The 2016 pair I have was not originally my pair. Back when I was really reselling, I got these in part of a big buyout. Shout out my guy Mars Goo. My initial plan was just to flip everything that I got out of that buyout, but I didn't have a pair of Flu Games at the time, and even though these weren't my size, 12s run pretty big, so this 8.5 kind of feels like a 9 almost, and I tried them on, they felt alright, so I decided to keep them temporarily. Cleaned them up, got great use out of them, and now it's time to replace them. And you know, thinking about this release and what I was going to do with these and just looking at all the Flu Game 12s more as of recent because of that, I was even thinking about just buying a pair of OGs because I've been seeing quite a few good ones for reasonable prices lately. Only thing about that is these are one of my go-tos on a rainy day, and although they might be alright in it, I wouldn't want to wear no OGs in any heavy rain, really any precipitation. And before anyone says it, yes, I do have boots, but I'm a sneakerhead. Like, I'd rather wear the 12. So even if I do end up copping an OG pair, I'll still want to keep one of these for rainy day purposes. So this is a calm necessity for me, and this is a great retro for sure. Leave me a comment and let me know if you plan on copping these or not, and which pair of Bread 12s or Flu Game 12s, whatever you want to call them, is your favorite. Between the OG pair from 1997, the 2003 retro, the 2009 pair, the 2016 retro, or the new 2025 retro. I'm not even sure which my favorite is, but I think it's the OG. Now, I want to talk about the 2009 pair for a second. But before I start, I assume that everybody knows the Flu Game backstory, but just in case you aren't, before Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals, Michael Jordan came down with an illness which was said to be the flu. He played through it, dropped 38 points, and carried the Bulls to win the game while wearing these 12s. So that's why these are called the Flu Game 12s. Now, some people say he didn't have the flu that game. I don't know for sure, but I did hear a story about how the night before the game, Michael Jordan was hungry and he wanted to
order some pizza. This game that ended up being the flu game was an away game for the Bulls, so they were in Utah. So Michael Jordan's trying to order some pizza in Utah when they're about to play the Utah Jazz the next day. I don't know if he's the one that ordered the pizza. I really doubt Michael Jordan himself picked up the phone like, hey, let me get a pizza for M. Jordan. Like, I doubt it was like that. I'm sure he had somebody call for him. But somehow, some way, when that order was placed, somebody there found out or assumed that the order was for Michael Jordan or one of the Bulls players. So they put something in the pizza which gave him food poisoning in hopes to help their home team, the Utah Jazz, win the game the next day. But unfortunately for them, that didn't happen, and they just created one of the biggest stories of Michael Jordan's career. I guess you could say that's one of the biggest. He did so much shit, it's hard to say. But so some people say he didn't have the flu and that it was food poisoning. So flu game, food poisoning game, whatever. Either way, he was sick, dropped 38 points on 13 for 27 shooting. You probably seen the iconic picture of Scottie Pippen walking him off the court. Mad dramatic. Like, if he just went in an NBA game and dropped 38 points, you don't think he could walk off the court by himself? Like, it made for a good picture though. But yeah, that's where the nickname comes from. And that's why if you look at the suede flu games they did in 2009, they put the sick face on the tongue and on the side of the shoe to represent Jordan having the flu or the food poisoning or whatever. Then if you look at the face, they got 97 to the left and 38 to the right. So the 97 is for the year 1997 NBA Finals, and the 38 is for the amount of points. So when you look at them all together, it's like 97 Finals, MJ sick, 38 points. I thought that was a really cool shoe as far as the details were concerned. It was just so hard for people to appreciate them because a lot of people were bothered that we weren't getting them like this. They didn't want to hear nothing about suede or none of the other details because, like I said, you know, a lot of times we just want the original. And, you know, it wasn't just the suede. They had the other changes too. Like, I don't think people were really bothered by the sick face or the thing on the side, but like they changed the color of the 23 on the back of the tongue. There was just too many changes on top of the fact that they had switched the material, so I think a lot of people were turned off and didn't even give them a chance because of those things. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them people, especially when they first came out. And to be honest, it actually turned out to be a pretty cool shoe. Like I said, it's just hard to appreciate them when you compare them to these because this is what they're based off of, and you know, why give me those when you can give me these, you know? But I am curious and would like to read how everybody else feels about them. So if you have an opinion on those, please leave me a comment, let me know. I don't anticipate these being that hard to get on release day, but it really depends on how many pairs they make. And I hate to be that vague with my prediction, but I keep hearing how they're gonna be cutting down on the amount of stock that they produce for Jordan releases, I believe retros in particular, for this year. And I'm just not exactly sure how much they're going to be cutting down. So before I start making uneducated guesses, I really kind of need to see how the February releases go to get a better idea, because I would hate to just throw a prediction out there and mislead y'all. But if I had to guess right now with the limited information that I have on that, I'd expect these to do similar to what the white and red 12s did. So for resellers, I would wait and see how the metallic 5s release goes and kind of base my expectation for these off of that. Whatever amount that they produce for the 5s is probably going to be pretty similar or equal to what they're going to do for these. And although I would expect the 5s to have a little bit more demand than these, I don't think it'll be significantly more. So once we see how many pairs they make of the 5s and how that release goes, I think you'll be able to get a better idea as to how the release for these will go. Being that the metallics are the first OG colorway we're releasing this year, I feel like that's going to set the tone for releases like these, cool gray 9s, even though those aren't OG colorway, they classics, great 5s and stuff of that sort. White cements might be a little different because those is 4s. We know how people go over 4s, but if this video was helpful or informative in any way, I'd really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more early reviews like this or any other sneaker related content, please do us both a favor and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Once you're subscribed, make sure you tap the little bell icon next to the subscribe button and select all. That way when I put a new video out, you get notified and you won't miss out on anything. Thank you all for watching. Everybody please stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you next time.